Hi there, my name is Lindsay and I'm a junior at the College of Worcester, and the topic of this video is about how to manage situations in your life that can sometimes affect your academic well-being and sometimes your grades. So I have had some situations in my life that have impacted my academic performance. The biggest example that I can think of that I'm going to talk about now is I used to suffer from severe test anxiety to the point where I would go to tests and I would become physically ill. And I remember it was super embarrassing. There was a time when I had to run out in the middle of the test and I was just so anxious that I became physically sick. And I had to reschedule the test with the professor and I was super embarrassed by it. And this impacted my academic performance because, well, the fact that I had to reschedule the test, I had to rearrange my schedule, my professor's schedule, so that kind of made some things difficult. Additionally, even when I didn't become physically ill, I would just become so anxious that I would be almost having a panic attack while I was taking the test. So obviously I would not be concentrating on the subject matter of the test. I would be trying to calm myself down, I would have low concentration, and I wouldn't remember all of the information that I had just studied and knew. So that was a big problem that I used to have. So some ways that I kind of tried to get over this situation and help myself is I actually trained myself in some sort of relaxation techniques. So things like deep breathing, listening to relaxation music. I would do that either right before the test or even the night before or a couple nights before when I was starting to get anxious thinking about the test. Even just making time for myself and talking to friends about my anxiety and getting that social support, because sometimes just getting that support from my friends and having them tell me, Lindsay, you're going to do great, and getting that compliment, it made me start to have the confidence in myself and start to believe it as well. So those are some things I used to do. Some people that helped me through this situation, first off, were my parents and family and my sister. So when I would get really anxious, I would text them and say, oh my gosh, I'm about to have this really big test, I'm kind of nervous. And once again, having that social support really helped me to get through it, because they would tell me those thoughts that I was incapable of thinking at the time, like, Lindsay, you'll do great, and you're going to be awesome. So that really helped, and so that's another thing that someone can do who is going through a rough situation, talking to family members, having that social support. They also told me some foods that I could eat that would help prevent me from getting sick. I like to call it the brat diet. Bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Somehow it interacts well with your body and it makes you less likely to become physically ill when there's the added factor of anxiety running through your body. Don't know how, but it works, and I've done it several times. So, also, some other people that were there for me were my professors. A lot of people are afraid to talk to their professors about some personal events that are happening in their life for fear of what they're going to think of them. But honestly, you'd be surprised how supportive some professors can be, because behind their teaching exterior, they're surprisingly, have a lot of humanity, and a lot of times they've even experienced some of these tough situations themselves when they're younger. So after this situation happened, I met with my professor in his office one time, and we had a serious chat where I just explained, hey, this is what's going on. I'm having severe anxiety, and it's really personal for me, and I'm really embarrassed. And it was super embarrassing because I started sobbing in front of him. But he was surprisingly understanding about it. He listened to me, and he said, you know what, Lindsay, I completely understand. I went through a lot of anxiety as a kid too. And because of him telling me that, I felt so much better about myself, and was less embarrassed because we kind of were on the same level, since I knew that he had been through the same situation, and it helped improve our relationship. He not only said that, but he even gave me some advice, like ways that I could handle my anxiety, and even gave me some recommendations for some natural remedies that I could follow to help my anxiety. So don't be afraid to talk to your professors. They can be surprisingly open-minded about certain events in your life. So ways that I kind of kept in communication with professors when I was going through this situation: sometimes I would email them and just let them know, hey, I'm not feeling well, or I'm going through a lot of personal issues right now, and they were also surprisingly understanding. Or even if there's other professors who are involved, I would do the same thing, go to their office and talk to them, and they were really nice about it. So there are a lot of different resources available for someone who's going through a situation that's impacting their academic life, including the wellness center at your school. You could talk to the counselors. They have some good steps for dealing with certain situations in your life. Like I said before, professors, they can be surprisingly understanding. And another one, if it's not necessarily related to emotional problems, but you're just having trouble maybe organizing your life or having time management problems, you could also go to the Learning Center. They can help you plan out your time. I actually had a friend who told me that she would go to the Learning Center all the time, and there's a lady who worked there who would help her plan out her schedule every day. She was having time management problems, so she sat down with her and would schedule hour by hour when she was going to do specific tasks, so that she had a regular time and a regular schedule that she would follow, and it helped her to be so much more productive, and she said she couldn't have done it any other way. So there are resources there, even the Writing Center, different things like that, and even talking to friends and family members, having that social support, like I said. So whatever you're dealing with, there's always a way to find a solution. Sometimes you just have to talk to those around you, or allow yourself to have time for yourself, and just take a step back when you're feeling anxious and do what you need to do to calm down. So that's all I have to say, and thank you for listening.